Good morning, Charleston and the world. How are you doing?
It is a Monday morning and all is well. I had my first tropical storm down here in Charleston this weekend. But today, what are we doing today?
Well, we're talking about the High Impact Synergy Academy. We have multiple facets to the program. We cover leaders, teams, and then a selling system. So leaders, teams, and growth. Basically, the three legs of a successful stool to any business. And with that, in our growth phase, we cover the explanation of services and how you uniquely position yourself, $1 million follow up, how to extract referrals, and of course, person of interest. And I know we've been talking about the $1 million follow up this month and how much money gets left behind by bad follow up.
This is true for me, that follow up to me was just kind of like the old days where you did the poor, check in, I guess. But there can be a real system, and I feel like the system is not only is it really purposeful, it's systematic, which I prefer, but it creates an opportunity for developing a relationship, but in a way that you can kind of schedule out so that you don't forget people, right? Like sometimes you can put your automation into place. Sometimes it's just about making those outreach calls, but what to say? So many people don't know what to say. That's why they say stuff like, Travis, what do they say?
Oh my God, the things, and I'll paraphrase. I'll give it a precursor with saying, here's things you never, ever, ever, ever say. And when you pick up the phone, it's like, hey, just checking in. I'm doing my due diligence. Wondering if you have any questions. It's like, in my mind, if you're just checking in or doing your due diligence, could you be less engaged with actually wanting to speak to me? It, if I have more questions, that means I didn't do a good enough job on the front end, asking the appropriate questions to answer every rejection that you may or may not get. And if you haven't built the rapport, haven't got the trust, haven't linked value, you haven't done your job on the front end. So doing a follow up of just checking in, and with sales, you have to have traction. It's a cadence. There's an initial attraction that happens of your goods and services either align or they don't, regardless of what your industry is.
But you know what I love about this? This is because, okay, Travis is a natural around sales and follow up. That is totally in his wheelhouse. He loves people. He can very naturally and organically have a selling system in his own little brain. For me, it does not come naturally. But what I have learned is that it can be taught. You can learn how to be good at these things. And this is why systems apply really well to people like me, because I can put it into place, and even I can be great at sales and follow up.
Well, and the it's a lot different too, is if you're calling not to check in, but to actually add some value with some new information. Um, do a follow up with a purposeful question they had, because if you don't have the answer, always, always, always say, I don't know, I'll get back to you, and then follow up and get back to them with a specific answer. Come to it from a place of giving and contribution. Answer questions, provide value.
Exactly. It's not about me, it's about them. A typical follow-up can take as many as 7, right? So there is a curve of, you might have the early adopters where they jump right in and they love you. Others take 2 to 3 touches where they're still in that early adoption phase. Yep. But others take a little bit of nurturing to get that rapport built and to establish your value. So in our system, there are 7 specific touches. Mm-hmm. Can take you through that system of getting to know your client and providing value, providing testimonials, maybe putting them in touch with somebody who was really wowed by how you do your product or service.
Yes, and selling about that, it's not about closing or forcing an issue. It's about removing resistance, solving problems. It doesn't matter what your industry, auto, real estate, mortgage, insurance, the standard, commoditized. If you tell me what your job is, I'm circling back to explanation of services. But if you're not fully engaged, and because I love the explanation of services and having a unique way of saying what you do for a living, I love that question. What do you do? And if you don't have a passionate way about saying it, how are you expecting somebody to get excited about wanting to talk to you about solving their problems?
Well, that's like somebody asking me what do I do, and answering with, I'm a coach. that could mean a million things.
Right. Right. So no, I appreciate what you said, that it's no less than 7, sometimes up to 15. And
Well,
that's just the way.
especially in those high ticket clients, right? So if you're selling something that is big money, you may have to nurture them for a bit, but having a system around it and having some frequent and consistent follow-up is so important.
Yes, and remember that purposeful touches, again, answering a question, following up purposefully, whether it be an email, a phone call, face to face, whatever that interaction might be. It could be a Zoom call, whatever that looks like to you. Bring value. Because remember, money changes hands when problems are solved. That's a very key. That's so paramount in the importance of the selling system, if you will.
One of the things that I love that people are doing now, and instead of, video is super popular, audio is super popular. It's not just just sending out an email or picking up the
Mhm.
phone is not enough anymore. You can get really creative in what your follow-up looks like. I have a friend who uses video text, or excuse me, audio text. So she sends an audio message. So you hear her message. It doesn't get mixed up in the little words, but it's a quick, it's a quick check-in. How's it going? And she does it through audio. So there are so many fun ways. Technology is our friend if we really put it to good use. And inside Genie Rocket, there's so many things that you can do automatically, like those emails, those texts, those that outreach. You can automate a lot of it.
Well, and with that, you mentioned Genie Rocket, which, hey, go Brad. That guy he's got bringing value and customer service and just direct communication down to a science. And that guy, and he is passionate about what he does. When you ask him specifically what he does, he brings passion and energy and wants to help you solve your problems to that. And with that, talking about whatever your industry is, bringing value to it, have you defined your who? I mean, who is your who is your unique avatar that you're actually, that would be your ideal client, that fits your wheelhouse, if you will. Or if you're swinging, I just went to the simulator and hit some golf balls today. So it's like when you hit that golf ball and it feels like butter, boom, like you don't even feel it. It's like, okay, who is that to you when that's your sweet spot? And you got to nail down your avatar of actually who you are talking to.
Yeah, I'm going to add to that though, that sometimes, yes, absolutely, 100% that's true. But I will add to that and say, but if you might be able to connect with someone who isn't the ideal, but really can benefit from your product or service.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's really what the follow-up is all about, right? Those extra chances to engage with them and build a relationship, because they may not have been those early adopters, but that's really truly what the $1 million follow-up is all about.
Yeah. Well, and Laura, you just spoke to that as well. It's like, I'm talking about a specific avatar, but I agree with you. It's like people that have a broad industry reach, like talk about insurance, for example. They're going to sell to every walk of life.
If you have someone that, especially if you're just starting, right? So if
Mhm.
you're new in business, having a specific avatar is really important, because then you can speak to that person, but that doesn't mean that nobody else is listening. So when you
Correct.
have those really fantastic conversations with a particular avatar, it really does help your marketing. And then other people resonate with you, they're still listening.
So let's talk about our community involvement. Like, so what kind of, even if you're an established person or non-established person, talk about, I enjoyed where you were going with that thought earlier on organic outreach and becoming a person of interest.
So I'm going to take a step back and just say that as part of a selling system, is having a system of outreach, a system of follow-up, of understanding your pipelines. But then as part of that, it's becoming that person of interest, right? Like, in order to attract business rather than chase business, you need to be a person of interest. How do you do that? How do you become that person who other people are interested in? And it's really about getting involved in cool things, being passionate about where you spend your time. So you can't go to where you're particular avatar would is what is, unless you're passionate about that, because then it doesn't come across real. So go out, be involved in things that matter to you, because then that's when your light really shines. That's when you have these amazing organic conversations. It's where you are giving back to your community in ways that that are real and beautiful, and people are attracted to that. And it gives you an opportunity to talk about yourself. And I can't tell you how excited I am about doing that in my community. I've already scheduled a few outreach opportunities and ways to give back in this community so that I can get to know Charleston and the people of Charleston. I'm really excited.
Nice. Well, no, I don't want to give away the whole webinar that you're coming up with. Is that now, is the webinar still on the 27th? That's my big
Yeah,
question.
that is 27th Tuesday.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, so it will go live at 8 o'clock on Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay. Now the beautiful thing about this is, like, so Laura's going to cover the 7-touch follow-up, what to say, how to say it, how to talk to your contacts. So this is just and the thing that I love about the communication style that we're both practicing and Laura is perfecting, anyway, is you learn how to know how feel. And you want to talk about that really quick, Laura?
Well, so yeah, I mean, it's
In relation to your webinar.
oh, in relation to the webinar. Well, as part of the follow-up, right? If you're looking for ways that you can show that your product or service is for them, and how do you know unless you know how how it impacts them, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what they will know by using your product or service, how they will feel by using it, and know how feel. Did I get it all? So you get the picture, right? So what the impact is, what they will know, how they will use it, what they will feel when using it. And so that's part of the follow-up as well. And part of your communication, part of your scripts, part of how you interact with people and get to know them better and build rapport.
Absolutely. Good job. So yeah. So I've got about 2 more Mondays before I'm back with you.
Yes, I'm so excited. He's going crazy. And I came up with the fantastic idea of not taking 5 extra days to get here. I was like, why don't you just hire someone to drive your truck out here and just hurry and get here so we can enjoy this cool place? It is the best time of year. Well, I don't know. This is my first time here, but it's amazing.
It's funny. I've been answering the questions like, how'd you pick Charleston's, like, through a dart? It's just random. It was really because we weren't even looking at that.
It's meant to be, because the people here, every single person I have met has been absolutely so kind. It's really true that Southern hospitality is a real thing, and I'm really happy about the choice we made.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting there with you. So anyway, thank you, everybody. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. Have an amazing week, and hopefully we'll see you on the webinar tomorrow night. Got lots of cool stuff coming up. We will keep you posted.